Perhaps the most notorious, impactful, and memorable chapter in Avondale's recent history is the race riots from the late 60s.
Those riots had scenes eerily similar to some of the most extreme unrest we saw in 2020 over racial injustice and police brutality. Those who lived through the Avondale events have strong memories and strong opinions on the riots and their role in advancing civil rights. WCPO's Monique John with that story.
Fires, busted windows and storefronts, streets filled with wreckage, looters, and roaming police officers. These are some of the visuals that come to mind when residents old enough to remember think back on the Avondale riots of 1967 and 68.
Cincinnati had never experienced a riot like that in modern times. So really, everybody was basically, didn't know what to do or what was going to come next.
The chaos of yesteryear looking like a precursor of the riots that erupted in cities like Minneapolis, Atlanta, and New York in 2020. Observers note the wide range of issues, including police brutality and racial discrimination, continues to disproportionately affect Black America. So the most marginalized people are still lashing out through destructive uprisings. But those who have had the experience of living through, and in some cases taking part in the damage, say that rioting over racial issues isn't the way.
At the time, I agreed with what they were doing, because they were not being heard.
Michael Burks grew up in Avondale and says he was arrested as an innocent bystander during the unrest in 1967.
But as I got older and look back at it, I disagree with it. Because when blacks riot, all that does is give the police open season to kill black people.
Dwight Patton, a former president of the Cincinnati Black United Front, took part in the riots as a teenager in Walnut Hills back in the 60s. He remembers being emotional about the prejudice he faced from white teachers and parents of his friends. But his outlook changed as he got older.
Our activism needs to be more constructive, more intelligent, less emotional.
Patton, like a number of other community members WCPO spoke to, feels Black America needs to instead leverage their political agency as voters. Other residents also brought up the need for Black America to focus more on coming together, to build thriving businesses and invest in real estate. That way, Black people can have more ownership of their spaces and resist discrimination against people of color in ways that can't be policed.
I really don't want to take part in a action that those who are oppressing me have the power to stop. I want something that they can't stop it. You can't stop the movement. You can't stop my voice. You can't stop my boycott, other than you come to the table and we figure this thing out.
Avondale Community Council President Sandra Jones Mitchell says that instead of rioting, fighting for marginalized Black residents to have a greater stake in their neighborhood is a more productive strategy for social change.
So we need to do some intentional acts and including folks in the process so that they can be a part of something bigger than them. We have community institutions that are willing to come to the table now and partner with us. We need to take advantage of that.
Monique John, Avondale, WCPO 9 News.